Ciao violinisti. Well, I'm hitting the road again, and this time I'm heading up to Carlisle in the north of England to visit the Tullie House Museum, home of an ANDREA AMATI violin. This rare antique violin was made in 1564 by ANDREA AMATI. A decorated violin, it was part of the set of instruments made for King Charles IX of France. This collection was dispersed during the French Revolution, and it was later acquired by Sybil Mounsey Haysham, who donated it to the museum in 1949. The violin's small size would be suited to a child today, but it was made for a 16th century professional player. The decoration includes the Royal Seal of France, figures of piety and justice, the medallion of the Order of St. Michael, and a number of crowns. Another small violin from the original set can be seen at the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. A few examples of other ANDREA AMATI instruments I've seen on my travels in the past. The great Cremonese maker ANDREA AMATI was the father of the modern-day violin in the form that it exists now. There are only 20-odd instruments that remain in existence today, making these violins extremely rare. I've had the privilege of seeing 4 of them, 1 violin and 1 viola in Oxford, and 2 violins as well as a replica cello back in the Museo in Cremona. On this trip, I hope to see my 5th violin by this maker. ANDREA AMATI's 2 sons, Antonio Amati and Girolamo Amati, were also highly skilled violin makers, whilst his grandson Niccolo Amati is considered to be the best maker of this dynasty. Niccolo went on to train Antonio Stradivari and Andrea Guarneri. Stradivari and Andrea's grandson Bartolomeo Giuseppe Guarneri del Gesù are the 2 greatest violin luthiers of all time, but they owe much to the craft and skill and genius of ANDREA AMATI. It's a super long drive up here to the north of England from where I live, so we're going to stop off overnight, and what better place to stop than the Lake District, and we're just heading over there now to break up the journey a little. I think we're at the Lancaster services or something like that at the moment. So with that little comfort break out of the way, let's press on to the beautiful Lake District. So I've arrived at my digs here in the north part of the Lake District, or the North Lakes. This quaint little hotel is called the Troutbeck Inn, and it's right near the Derwent Water, about 20 minutes drive. It's a small but cosy little room, quite quaint, and there's also a beautiful view outside there. See my car down there in the car park, and these wonderful hills here. I'll just show you the bathroom as well. Not bad at all. I really like this wooden bathroom furniture there. We're actually not far from the Greystoke Castle as well, so I might see if I can drive by it tomorrow. Now today is Saturday, tomorrow's actually Sunday, and the Tullie House Museum doesn't actually open until Monday, which is why I'm going to work from up here on Monday from Carlisle, and the plan is to nip out early in the morning and go and see the violin if all goes to plan, hopefully. So I've got the whole of tomorrow to go and explore, and I've decided to go and check out the HADRIANS wall. So I'm going to crash out for tonight. I've got a meal booked at 7:30, and I'll put the HADRIANS wall stuff towards the end of the video, and I'll bring forward the violin stuff and show you that next after this footage. So for now, I'm going to say good night and see you on the next leg. And check out where we're staying in Carlisle, guys. This is probably the nicest little apartment hotel I've stayed in since I was in Malaysia. Not quite as nice as the Malaysia one, but very spacious. So, slight difference to the Troutbeck Inn, which was very oldie rustic style. This is far more modern, but the advantage of being in this place is it's literally right next to the Tullie House, so it's going to be very convenient tomorrow when we go and check out the AMATI violin. So the moment has now arrived to head over to Tullie House to go and check out this ANDREA AMATI violin.
Yeah. Maybe about 20 years ago. playing Bieber and those sorts of Baroque types of music. And so we have, I'm not sure, no, we were certainly selling a CD of that.
Yeah,
recording.
oh really?
Yes.
So there is maybe recordings of this somewhere?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Royal Academy of Music, their museum's open, I think, just on like a Friday.
Right. Just really details of the instrument. We're happy for you to take. That's fine.
And the scrolls are just out of this world, aren't they?
They are, yes. I mean, that's original, obviously. It's the neck that's...
So I'm back in the hotel room and just wanted to give some thoughts after having viewed the fabulous ANDREA AMATI violin in the Tullie house. It appears that the violin was donated by a wealthy landowner lady. She also had a Stradivarius and was apparently an excellent amateur violinist who used to play in local village halls around this area. She lived not far from here. And so she decided in her will to bequeath the ANDREA AMATI to the Tullie house. So it is kind of like a showpiece in the museum, much like the 1699 Stradivarius is a showpiece in the V&A. Just a single violin, but we could say that this violin is far greater than the sum total of its parts. It's absolutely beautiful seeing the filigree painting work. It's a petite violin, but packs a punch in terms of its beauty, should we say. And at this point I'd really like to say thank you to Melanie Gardner, the curator at the Tullie, who gave me the opportunity to view this violin. Melanie Gardner actually told me that she took the violin to Cremona, I think back in 2005, where at the time it was performed on, and there is even a recording made of the violin somewhere, which I'll have to try and find if it's available online. But these days, of course, the violin isn't really being played on very much. It's very old and it's resting in the museum where it can be preserved. So mission accomplished, and once again privilege and an honour to be able to view this violin here up in the north of England. Here are some other fun things that I got up to whilst I was on this trip. First, I stopped off at the charming Greystoke Castle whilst on the way to Hadrian's Wall and leaving the Lake District area. Then we headed over to Hadrian's Wall to check out some Roman forts, some remnants of Hadrian's Wall that was built by Emperor Hadrian, the Roman Emperor, to keep out the barbarian Scots. This marked the northernmost frontier of the Roman Empire and were designed to keep the barbarian Scots at bay and to protect the edge of the Roman Empire. One of the best preserved sections of Hadrian's Wall is actually at Walltown Crags, but I also had the opportunity to visit the Roman Army Museum, Vindolanda, and Birdoswald Roman Fort. Then it was time to head back into Carlisle, and on the way I visited Kirklinton Hall, a place full of sadness and nostalgia in my opinion, and it's a shame that this hall has fallen into dereliction, but it is enchanting and mesmerising at the same time. Then upon arriving in Carlisle, I went on a walkabout in the city and checked out the cathedral and Carlisle Castle.